Hello, and welcome everyone to our webinar on best practices for issues and user segmentation. Thank you for joining us. My name is Shalini, and I'm a Customer Success Associate at HelpShift. Couple of housekeeping items before we begin. This will be a 30 minutes webinar, including 20 minutes of presentation and 10 minutes of Q&A round. This will be a recorded webinar and will be available on demand later. Throughout this session, please feel free to put in your questions in this Q&A dialog box, and we'll get back to you at the end of the session or if required, later on in email. The agenda of the webinar today is to introduce you to segmentation, why it is important, different methods to help you segment users and issues, best practices around the same, a demo, and then a Q&A round. Introducing segmentations. Segmentation refers to effectively organize your issues and users into specific groups or categories based on different practices such as issue types, apps, games, or specific to industry vertical. Having different segment of issues and users allow you to create customized workflow and support operations for different types of customers and their issue category. There are two types of segmentation recommended. One is user segmentation and the other is issue segmentation. On the right-hand side, you can see a screenshot example from the dashboard where issue and users are segmented. Why segmentation is important? Let's take an example of a gaming company which has thousands of daily incoming issues from different games and channels. Now, there are a couple of things you might want to think about before you have a product to support these issues. It is very important to properly segment and categorize these issues of different users based on channels, apps, and several other factors. Then once you have all this data, how you can leverage data analytics to make your product better, your support workflows better, and make data-driven business decisions. In the life cycle of an issue, before or during a ticket is created, segmentation helps you to prioritize specific user queries, have effective workflows, increase agents' productivity, and better customer satisfaction and related metrics. Similarly, segmenting issues enable you to prioritize important issues, better identification of common issues, and thus better deflection using automated workflows, increasing overall efficiency and productivity of your agents. An example of segmentation, data representation. Here is an example of custom report you can easily build based on the collected data on users and issue types in Power BI platform. We have the knowledge base article link mentioned over here, which will be shared to you later in the follow-up email. Different types of segmentation. As we have discussed, there are two. One is user segmentation and issue segmentation. Let me introduce you to user segmentation first. You can segment your users based on data that you collect on those users and how you want to group them together. Few questions to think about while designing your user categories. What factors impact your support workflows? Which customers should interact with bots either completely or partially in the workflow? If you want to segment based on user language specifically, and so on. Here are some HelpShift recommendations you can use to set up your user segmentation. For gaming, you can group the users by game, how much a player has spent. You can consider subcategories to it, and if the user has been banned or is banned in the current or in the past platforms, and so on. For e-commerce and fintech, you can segment based on the LTV value if they are or the user is eligible for discounts or similar product, any product-related bifurcation or segmentation, and the platform as well. HelpShift enables you to segment users. The first method is via SDK, which is most common and highly effective for in-app users. You can use custom issue fields feature for segmenting data via the SDK. Similarly, for web chat, you can segment users using web chat SDK and later use custom issue field for segmenting data. You can also use automations for all different channels. If you need to update any value manually, then we have an option to update the data manually as well. Automations and manual options are available for all different channels. Issue segmentation. Issue segmentation refers to categorizing your customer issues in relevant categories. This helps you to have streamlined workflows based on various issue types, such as certain automations and bot workflows. Once you have efficient workflows, you can route issues better, improve your agent's productivity, and have better SLAs all across. HelpShift recommendation to help you segment your issues based on best practices. You can segment via issue subject or category and subcategory by different apps or games. You can use disposition subject category like duplicate, account updated, refunded, etc. You can also segment your escalated issues or priority issues and so on. HelpShift provides and enables you to segment your issues using these methods in the dashboard. We'll discuss one by one and later see a demo of all the features in the demo. Predict leverages machine learning to automatically triage incoming issues and assign relevant labels to them. You can then use the assigned label or segment value to set up corresponding automation, smart views, queues, advanced search, and more. This feature is available for all the different channels in HelpShift. You can also track its performance and data metrics from dashboard and Power BI respectively. Second is Smart Intent. Smart Intent is HelpShift's latest development in intelligent issue classification. This feature proactively suggests help topics and issue categories to your end users when they open the chat window. This is available for only in-app and web chat channel. You can also build an issue classification workflow using custom bots. Here you can predefine the issue categories and let your users select the issue categories with their input. On user input, you can automatically update your segment value in custom issue field. You can also segment incoming issues based on keyword search using automations. We'll see more of these examples in the demo ahead. Moving on to the demo. Now that we know why user and issue segmentation is important, let's see different HelpShift features and how they enable us to achieve our segmentation goals. Our first use case is of user segmentation, where SDK helps segment our users in different predefined categories in custom issue field. Here is an example of the segmentation done by SDK. So as you can see, the user categories are set here. We'll see a live demo of an example next. Based on the value set in custom issue fields via SDK, it is expected for this automation to run. So what is this about? So we are segmenting our VIP customers and setting up a workflow based on certain filter and criteria. So if the platform is one of iOS, Android, and web chat, game is one particular app, we want to run this segmentation and action workflow for. And most important, if the user or player type is set as paid or VIP as a result of SDK segmentation, Then if these conditions are met, then we assign the VIP issue to a VIP queue, which is already set. Similarly, we can reply back to the customer saying, thank you for reaching out, and someone will be there with you shortly. We can add in a private note saying, reminding our agents that this is a premium customer and one should prioritize this issue. And last, we can update our tags in custom issue fields as a result of this automation. Here we are updating tags as premium user and priority. Let's see an example how this works. Let's go on and see an example. So this is the user view, and as a VIP customer, I'll be raising a ticket. All right, so this is the issue. And as you can see, there was some reply back from the automation. Let's see if our automations and the user segmentation work. So if this is the ticket which was created and this is the agent's view, let's go on to the custom issue fields and you can see the values of these categories are already set. That means the SDK was able to pull in the information and set the game or app as Daily Shop, Paid VIP, and iOS. Now, if we go on and see the show logs, we can see the custom issue field values were set as expected. Our automations, which we just saw, worked, added tags as premium, user priority, had in an internal note to the agent saying this is a priority issue, and replied back to the customer with our automation reply. So this is how we update a value and segment our users based on using SDK, and as a result, we run certain automations to it. Another example of segmenting our users is automations. Let's take another example. So these are generally used when one does not segment their users via SDK. So we are here to segment our VIP customers using automations. The platform can be one of the filters, and you can set in as one of iOS, Android, and web chat. The most important filter to use here to segment your VIP customers or your users is via title or first message. And it contains any of these words, or you can add in multiple words if you want to. So this automation will search the user's first message, and if it contains any of these words, then it will run the automation and update the segmented value in the custom issue field created. You can add in multiple filter options as well, for example, language, app, and so on. And here we are replying back to the customer with a message, thank you for reaching out, we'll get back, adding certain tags. And very important, which is the main goal of this automation, is to segment and update our user category value as paid or VIP. So this is another example of segmenting our users using automations. Another method to update a custom issue field value is manually. So we have given the feasibility in the system to update a segment value manually if required as well. This can be used by agents and admins if given the permission accordingly. This was all about user segmentation. These are the three methods which we use in Helpshift to segment our users based on your requirements and use case. Moving on to issue classification and segmentation. So our first use case of issue segmentation is using Predict Sense AI feature of Helpshift. As we have already seen in the presentation before, Predict leverages machine learning to automatically triage incoming issues and assign relevant labels to them. Based on these labels, we can run certain automations and workflows based on the filter criteria using automations and so on. Let's see an example of Predict where you can find them and how you can set them up and how does it look like to the end user and to your agents. So you can find the Predict from this Sense AI tab right above the settings. Click on it, click on Manage Predict, and you can create in multiple models based on different languages. Once created, you can manage a predict model using the manage option and do all sorts of configuration and settings using this tab right here. So once the predict model is configured, we have to set in an automation to automatically update the custom issue field value of the segment, which is predicted by and labeled by the predict label. So here is an example of a missing item issue category. So our filter criteria are predict label is set as missing item. So whenever the user or the predict label recognizes an issue with this particular label, then the action items should assign it to one of the queues or to an agent or a bot. We can reply back to the customer saying, thank you for your input and someone will be there with you shortly, or you can customize this as per your requirement. And the most important part of this automation is to set a custom issue field value as missing items. So this is what the action item or the end result of the automation should be. Now, let's see an example from the user and the agent's perspective, respectively. So we'll turn off the predict label automation. And let's see, as a user, I'll be creating a ticket now. So I say I need help with one of the missing items from my recent purchases. And as you can see, an automation was used to reply back to the customer. Now, if we go on to our issue tab and see the predict label marked this issue as missing items, which is accurate. In case of wrong issue label marked by predict, we can provide feedback to the system and mark it inaccurate, and agents can do it manually as well. This betters the system over time from the feedback it receives from the agent. And as you can see from show logs, the custom issue field was updated to paid VIP, which was our end goal. Our end goal was to update the custom issue field value as missing items because we are segmenting our issues here. And based on that, certain automations was used to reply back to the customer saying, thank you for reaching out and someone will be there with you shortly. So this is the entire workflow of using predict to segment your issue types in HelpShift. Another example is to use a custom bot and create an issue classification workflow for them, for the users. Let's see an example. So you need to have custom bots enabled for your dashboard. If it is, you can click on new bot. It will be a blank sheet and you can start to build your issue classification bot. What we are doing here is instead of having predict to leverage machine learning and identify an issue with a label, we are giving users certain options to choose from, and based on whatever option the user selects, we are mapping it to a custom issue field automatically. Let's see an example. So I am a user, and if I say subscription, then my custom issue field will be automatically updated. That is, our issues will be segmented automatically based on whatever the user selects as an input. This is very easy and is being used very widely. Similar example is, or a similar feature related to this is smart intents, which you already covered in our presentation too. This is another example of segmenting our issues. The third example is using automations. So the way we have seen to segment our users using automations, we can do the same for our issue segmentation as well. So our goal is to set a custom issue field value of the issue category or issue subject as payments. And based on that, we have to trigger a bot, or we can choose to have a certain workflow to it using automations or bots. So the filter criteria here could be platform is one of these. As we have said, when we use automations to segment our users or issue type, it is very important to use this particular filter for this use case, where the title or the first message contains any of these words. Then as a result, this automation will set the issue subject custom issue field value to payment or refund or whatever we choose it to be. So when this automation runs based on the user's first message, our issue gets segmented and the value is set whatever we set the action item here to be. So this is an example of segmenting our issues using automations. Last but not the least, we do have a manual option to choose our values manually as well. So this is for your agents and admins to do such edits if required in the future. And obviously, the values and the logs will be kept and saved here if anyone does it manually as well. So that's it. So these are different use cases and examples HelpShift provides to help you segment your issue and users. And based on that, you can set in partial or complete automations and bot workflows as per your use cases and examples. Moving on to our Q&A session. So hi guys, I hope the webinar was helpful enough for you to understand different segmentation concepts and methods. I am Shalini and I'll be here to answer any questions you have regarding the entire presentation or a demo or a feature. You can see a dialog box on the screen wherein you can put in your questions as well while I answer to the already asked questions. All right, so we have two questions given to us while the webinar was in play and running. The first one is, among all the methods demonstrations we saw earlier, which one would you recommend for user and issue segmentation and why? So I would say for user segmentation, if you already have HelpShift's SDK implemented, I would highly recommend to use SDK to segment your users and then use custom issue fields to save the field values to use it in subsequent workflows and your different workflows in the system. If you don't have the HelpShift SDK integrated already, I would definitely ask you to please get in touch with your HelpShift CSMs and get started with it right away. It will make your life much easier to use the SDK, and as it has tons of features, and which I think you already might be aware of. If not, reach out to us. For issue segmentation, I would highly recommend Predict Sense AI feature to use, as it leverages machine learning, as you already know from the presentation, and it is highly effective and it has very less maintenance. So it's easy for your agents and you as an admins to manage Predict for your issue segmentation. The second question we have is, we use tags for segmenting our issues. Are custom issue fields better, or can tags be used as well? So yes, you can definitely use tags to segment your issue types or issues, but we do recommend and highly recommend custom issue fields instead. Custom issue fields are easier to report on and allows you to perform more action than tags, and has lots of possibilities to help you in your support workflows and so on. All right, I think that's all about it. I'll just wait for another couple of minutes if you guys have any questions. And as people write in or say something about any questions they have, I would just would like to remind you, like after the webinar ends, we'll share an email with you wherein you can find all additional resources about segmenting in your emails, and you'll find the webinar link wherein you can watch this again and reach out to your CSMs or our success team at success@helpshift.com, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. All right, I'll just wait a couple of minutes and see if anyone has any questions. All right, guys, I don't think we have any more questions. But if you do in future or anytime going forward, reach out to us. You know where to find us, and we'll be happy to help you there. Thank you for attending the webinar. I hope it was helpful, and see you again.